We have a patent, so we don't need you. Well then, goodbye. You're fired. As soon as the company obtained a patent for the number one product in the industry, the CEO declared me fired. Alright, it's time to take action. I decided to execute a plan I'd had for a while. I am Lincoln. I graduated from a specialized school for game creators and joined a game development company founded by my senior. Both when entering the specialized school and when joining the game development company, my parents didn't approve of it much. My father told me, "Stop doing reckless things like that." And my mother said, "You can make a living with games. Isn't it like trying to be a musician? Only a handful of people succeed, you know." I understood how my parents would be worried, but nowadays, almost everyone has a smartphone, and they become familiar with games since they are young. It's my second dream job, after being a YouTuber, viewed as a lucrative profession. Many young people have been launching their own companies, hoping to strike it rich. Cooper, who is the CEO of my company, was also one of those people. Cooper passionately spoke to us saying, "We, the elite specialists, will revolutionize the gaming industry. If it goes well, we could be rich." His words inspired me, and I was determined to give it my all. I joined Cooper's company like this, but the reality wasn't as sweet as I imagined. Although it may seem obvious, to achieve remarkable results, there are many tasks that need to be done diligently. Creating a game from scratch required complex process. We have planners, scenario writers, sound engineers, illustrators, and CG designers who design the characters, and programmers like me. We collaborate and work together repeatedly to bring the game to life, but I end up being assigned all the trivial and troublesome tasks. I want to create a great game. It was fine while I was burning with determination, but I reached my limit and decided to appeal to CEO Cooper. "Sir, I need a break. It's been tough working overnight all the time. Could we hire more programmers or distribute the workload among other employees?" Cooper glanced at me and pointed to my desk with his chin. "What's wrong? Your desk is disgusting. Is this your way of seeking sympathy?" There were a bunch of energy drinks and black coffee cups on my desk. "Everyone is working hard on their own tasks. You don't get to complain all the time. Now is the time to push through." Just as I think CEO Cooper is shouting at me, he suddenly softens his voice. "The reason I say this is because I expect a lot from you, Lincoln. I may come across as strict, but it's just because I want to help you become more successful. I will make you endure this now, but once we create a big hit game, I'll let you rest as much as you want and give you abundant bonuses. So trust me on this." I let out a sigh. Some of my colleagues had expressed concern for me, saying,
"Sir, aren't you being a little too harsh towards Lincoln?"
But Cooper dismissed it casually, saying, "Everything is fine. Lincoln is my junior, and pushing him will bring out good ideas. Besides, Lincoln is a potential future vice president, so don't worry." He had brushed them off lightly with a confident tone, leaving those around him vaguely convinced.
"Well, I guess there's nothing to be done then,"
they said, and didn't stick up for me anymore. I have no choice if people have high expectations for me. Demanding job with low pay, and the turnover rate is high. But I guess I need to persevere. I was so foolish back then. But as CEO Cooper had said, there are times when I come up with great ideas when I am under great pressure at work. It was also the case when I came up with a game idea that became the number one product in the industry. When I was stuck on another task, inspiration struck suddenly. It was a brilliant idea that seemed exciting, and I had faith that it had potential. When CEO Cooper heard my idea, he said, "This will definitely sell. We'll put all our effort into it." He became excited and even commissioned a popular illustrator, whom we normally wouldn't be able to afford, to design the characters. I was thrilled that my idea was coming to life, and I continued to work, staying at work night after night. One day, a second miracle came up with the programming, when I came up with an incredible idea. When I reported it to CEO Cooper, "You are seriously amazing. Are you a genius or what? Well done." He praised me, and the other employees also praised me, saying,
Lincoln, you're amazing. I want to see what's going on inside your head.
Cooper decided to patent this programming method. Months later, we released the game we had created. "Look, it's at the top of the industry," CEO Cooper exclaimed loudly, waving his smartphone in the air. To our surprise, immediately after the release, our game surpassed the major competitors and became the top-selling game. Calling it the industry's top game is an exaggeration, I muttered quietly while scratching my nose. The truth was that several factors contributed to this outcome, such as the timing of the major companies' release being separate, a significant budget spent on marketing, and the support of a famous pro gamer who shared about our game on social media. We can't mistake this as solely our merit. CEO Cooper overheard my murmuring and, "Hey, can't you read the room? Everyone is celebrating, and you're here being negative." He sternly scolded me. I'm sorry." I sighed and apologized, but CEO Cooper continued, "You better not get too full of yourself. It's irritating," and vented his frustration. Over the past few months, my relationship with the CEO Cooper had deteriorated significantly. Things were fine until the point when I came up with a programming idea, but we started disagreeing after that about the game's settings. The story goes back a few months to when we applied for the patent for the programming. Everything was going smoothly, and we were excited about it. I turned to the employee sitting next to me and said, "If this game becomes a huge hit, we'll definitely get a bonus, right?" The employee next to me replied,
Absolutely. That was the promise. How much do you think it will be?
with excitement. The truth is that our company pays a considerably lower salary compared to other companies. But in return, there was a promise of bonuses if the game became a big hit. However, when CEO Cooper overheard our conversation, he approached me and said, "Oh, Lincoln, you won't be getting any bonuses." What? But it's the game I created, and I'm the one programming it. It's the idea that we plan to patent. CEO Cooper smirked and said, "Yeah, the patent is the issue. Applying for a patent actually costs a significant amount of money. I heard it's possible to do it yourself, but it's complicated. So I hired a patent attorney. So there won't be any bonuses for you. Also, when a company obtains a patent, it's considered a duty invention. Didn't you know that? It falls within the scope of the company's operations, so the company holds the rights. So it doesn't just become your achievement." Both the employee next to me and I were dumbfounded. But if it weren't for me, it wouldn't have been possible. If it becomes the company's rights, then it should be covered by the company's expenses. It's unthinkable to cut my bonus. I argued hastily. Are you an idiot? You're employed and receiving a salary, right? That's your compensation. CEO Cooper said it with ease, but this is not what was promised. It's true that the game hasn't been released yet, and we don't know if it will sell well. But even if it does sell, it seems like he will somehow find a reason to not give bonuses. I suddenly realized the situation. Lately, there have been disagreements between me and CEO Cooper regarding the game. Maybe there is no future for me here. I started considering a job change and gathering information. I even thought about starting my own business and got to work. It was in the afternoon of the day we became the industry's top ranker. CEO Cooper said, "Don't get carried away. It makes me feel sick. I've been investing in you all this time, but it seems I miscalculated. We have a patent, so we don't need you. You're fired." He continued. The surrounding atmosphere grew tense as CEO Cooper declared, "Oh, by the way, those who defended him are also guilty and will be fired." Everyone fell silent. They probably didn't want to get involved. In the past few days, CEO Cooper had been venting his nervousness and frustration about the upcoming game on me, trying to relieve himself. Even then, "If it doesn't sell, you better take responsibility," he had hinted. But being told I'm fired as soon as it sells infuriated me. I calmly respond, "An employer can't simply fire an employee like that, can they? Exploiting me all this time? And now you don't want to fulfill your promise of bonuses. Isn't that unfair?" "Shut up! Lately all you do is backtalk and refuse to listen obediently. We don't need employees who can't listen to their boss." The president's statement was so childish. I couldn't help but feel amazed. Cutting ties with someone like him is the right decision. Fortunately, my preparations were almost complete. That thought naturally brought a smile to my face. "I see. I'll quit then. Good luck with everything," I replied. CEO Cooper responded, What's wrong with you? You were told you're fired, yet you're smiling. You're creepy." But I quickly tidied up my belongings with a smile still on my face. "I'll take care of the details later. I'm leaving for today," I said. It's been so long since I could leave during daylight hours. "Well then, everyone, please take care of the rest," I said without waiting for a response and left the company. After leaving the company, I felt an exhilarating sense of relief, fueled by the strange and astonished faces of CEO Cooper and colleagues. It was as if a weight had been lifted from my body and mind, and ideas began flowing in abundance, almost like magic. I couldn't wait to start creating games. Strike while the iron is hot, I thought. The people I had met at the Game Creators Meetup encouraged me to reach out to them if I decided to start my own business. With their support, I made the decision to embark on the entrepreneurial path. Surprisingly, the process of resigning from my previous job was relatively easy. I spent my days preparing for the new venture while keeping an eye on the rankings. The game that had briefly held the top spot in the industry quickly faded away, disappearing from the rankings in no time. The truth was that the game had a major flaw. CEO Cooper believed that it would sell as long as the illustrations were good. But that is far from the reality. As evidence, when I searched for customer reviews and feedback from people who purchased the game online, I found out that there were indeed individuals expressing the same dissatisfaction as I had imagined. Just as I suspected. Seeing that, I gained confidence. This time, I will create something that truly satisfies. An upgraded version of that product. Since the company obtained the patent, I can't use the same program. However, I have come up with an even better method, which is now swirling in my mind. I feel like I can create a game that is much more amazing than the previous one. No, I will definitely make it happen. With that determination, I promptly established a rival company. It had been about a month since I left my previous job, when I received a call from Cooper. Cooper wasted no time with greetings and said, "Lincoln, please, won't you come back? We can't find a new programmer. If you come back now, I'll hire you with the same salary as before," he said. Those words really got on my nerves. Are you kidding me? What kind of fool would get fired like that and then come back? "But, Lincoln, aren't you struggling without a job?" "No, I started my own business." I tried to end the call quickly, but Cooper latched onto it. "Started a business? You did? Well, in that case, I can outsource some work to you. You must be struggling without any jobs, right? It's tough to find work in the beginning, right? You should be glad to have such a kind senior." I could vividly imagine his smirking face, and it gave me goosebumps. "I'm doing fine, but thanks." I hung up the phone. So, that's the kind of thoughts he has. I slightly regretted not lying and saying I had just switched jobs. A few days later, I received another call from Cooper. "Hey, Lincoln, it's all your fault. That game isn't selling at all. They're calling it a trash game with only pretty illustrations." That's why I told you multiple times that a game isn't all about illustrations. Don't blame me for this. I'm simply amazed at how his stance has completely changed from before. "If you had stopped it more, it wouldn't have turned out like this. The work doesn't function without you. So hurry up and come back." Is that all you have to say? I'm busy, so I'll hang up now. I interrupted Cooper's words and hung up the phone. I considered blocking his calls, but I changed my mind. If I were receiving dozens of calls, it would be a different story. But this frequency is manageable. Besides, why not release a new game and see Cooper's reaction? A few months later, we created a new mobile game. At my company, there are game creators who gathered and supported my ideas. In fact, that game had several critical issues. One of the causes of the conflict between Cooper and me was the ease of in-app purchases. In the gaming industry, there's a social issue regarding children making unauthorized purchases without their parents' knowledge. As a game creator, it deeply concerned me. When we previously discussed how to handle in-app purchases, Cooper said, "About the game we're currently designing? Let's make it easy for kids to make an in-app purchases. Children are easily influenced to spend money, you know. Let's make the in-app purchase process visually intuitive, so they can make purchases without consulting their parents. We'll make it so that they can't obtain good weapons unless they make purchases, and make them addicted to the game." Are you kidding me? I was completely taken aback by Cooper's suggestion. I couldn't set it up like that on purpose. It'll cause trouble. I argued against it, but Cooper wouldn't back down. In the end, I couldn't go against the CEO's wishes. and the game ended up being one where you couldn't enjoy it without making in-app purchases. On the other hand, the game I created this time has a system that makes it difficult for children to make in-app purchases. The game itself has received positive reviews for being entertaining, and it achieved the top ranking. The game has since stayed in the rankings, and our first game seems to be becoming a long-term seller. A few days later, I received a phone call from Cooper. I answered the phone, thinking to myself, I've been waiting for this.
So, your company made that game?
Yes, that's right. It's a fun game, isn't it? As I bragged, Cooper shouted,
You stole our patented technology. That's why it's selling, right? Pay us royalties or hand over the rights to the game.
That's not true at all. You know, people can improve with effort, right? I simply came up with a better idea compared to when I thought of that program. If you play the game, you'll understand. It's completely different. We can go to court if necessary, I said confidently.
No way. Could it be?
Cooper hesitated, seemingly taken aback.
I beg you, Lincoln. Come back to our company. We need you. Since you left, we've been struggling without a contact person or coordinator. There's no employee who can come up with as many good ideas and do anything like you can.
Cooper begged me. How can you be so shameless? And there's no employee who can be as cheaply hired as me, huh? Of course, I refuse. I'm now the president of my own company. I won't sell myself cheap.
I beg you to reconsider.
Without waiting for a response, I hung up the phone. I don't need to hear any more from this man. This time, I blocked his number and said goodbye to Cooper forever. Later on, that infamous game has become irregular in the worst rankings as a pay-to-play garbage game. I could see that coming. Consumers aren't fools after all. At a game creators networking event, I heard rumors about Cooper's company. It seems that after I left, people started quitting one after another, and bankruptcy was inevitable. He deserved it, all right. Meanwhile, my company is steadily expanding its market share and securing stable work. We are currently planning to release a new game in the winter. My parents are delighted by my success and proudly boast about it to the neighbors. I actually find it gratifying that my parents have had a change of heart. I'm glad I could put their minds at ease. Moving forward, I want to continue creating enjoyable and exciting games, while also building a company where employees can take pride and have long-lasting careers.